Okay. I'm going to do the bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asuk b'divrei Torah. Varevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu v'fi Amcha Beit Yisrael. V'niyeh anachu v'tzeitzeinu v'tzeitzei Amcha Beit Yisrael. Kulanu yodea shemecha v'lomdei Toratecha lishma. Baruch atah Adonai melamed Torah le'amo Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen.
I also enjoy the chatting aspect, guys. I'm just, we need to get through some crowd.
Can't I just talk about, can't I just have like a chat today, like just a general social chat, a connection? Yeah. I don't know. I'm lonely on the side.
We're all lonely, honestly. We are. We are lonely. We actually are.
All right.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We could all just, have a bit of quality time together. Okay. No problem.
I actually enjoy the quality time. That's really.
Yeah.
Shechianu and fruits and vegetables. If one eats a new fruit or vegetable, such as watermelon, and one gets benefit out of it, one can say shechianu on it, but it's not an obligatory brocha, rather voluntary one. It is praiseworthy to seek out new fruits on which to say shechianu, for it affords a person the opportunity to thank and praise Hashem for his creations. So the source of that is the Mishna Brura 225. And then seeing or eating. One could say it even on the joy of seeing it. Well, that I never knew. But the custom is to wait until one actually eats it. Thus one need not own the fruit for even seeing it theoretically enough. Even if it's still in a tree, one may say it. Okay, I didn't know that. I wonder if you can say it when you see the ocean for the first time in ages.
Yeah.
What?
You can. That's one of the things you can do.
No. That's a separate
More
bracha.
than 30 days.
No. Oh, that's not shechianu. That's the prayer for the Great Sea. There's a prayer in the Siddur for unusual things like lightning, thunder, the sea. It's a different prayer to shechianu.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if that prayer would be done in addition. But you're onto something. At least you can say a prayer for the ocean. I say a prayer when I come out of the ocean in one piece. It's something different.
I understand.
So what type? It's not a significant fruit and vegetable. One doesn't make a bracha. For this reason, many vegetables such as cucumbers, tomatoes, carrots don't get a shechianu, even if they come around once a year. Well, which is first, borei priya eitz or shechianu? Guys, do you know? I don't know.
Borei priya eitz.
Okay, let's see. One makes the shechianu first before making the bracha and eating the fruit or vegetable. Borei priya eitz adamah. Yeah. If one made it afterwards, it's still valid, and he need not repeat the bracha. Okay, and the source of that is the Shar Hatzion, section 225, subsection 12. Okay, when it's too late to make. If one already ate the fruit without a shechianu and then realized, he cannot make it on the next one he eats, but he can make shechianu at the time while he's eating the first one. So regarding seeing it, however, if he can still make the bracha the next time he sees it, if after all, he can say shechianu when he eats it. Okay, so that's...
So shechianu is first, right. So that's the general rule.
Yeah, but it seems here that if you switched it around, it's still valid. So Marco, you won. Either way.
Damon.
Yeah?
Because when for a chag, you say the bracha, you light the candles, and then you say shechianu afterwards. So that's why it's.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh no, there's a different reason for that. Sometimes, if you have a look on certain chagim, where there's a suffix, because in Chutz La'aretz you do 2 days of a chag. So technically, there's a shala as to whether or not you say shechianu on the second day. because they don't observe it in Eretz Yisrael. I'm not talking Rosh Hashanah, Kev, because that's an exception. But Pesach and Shavuot, etc., where you would do a Shechianu on the second day out of the land of Israel. The reason it's a suffix is because we do 2 days, because we now know which day it is. You know, you don't need witnesses except Shema Yorakot. So in that case, we have to do a Shechianu on a new fruit to make sure that the brocha isn't in vain. And that also affects the order. You know that?
No. I've always said it afterwards. After I said a brocha like that, I then Shechianu. For the Chagim, not that I remember saying it frequently.
I'm sure you can find a custom to suit it. I'm sure it's cool, man. I'm exhausted. Okay, let's just go to are you right? Cham,
I just future life. No future life, and I didn't mix enough of it with water, so that it's fine. I'll drink my water, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me go to the main Gemara share. Let me just go through a couple of points, guys. So I want to share on the screen with you the Mishna. Just give me 1 sec. You can see this is our Friday session. We'd all rather chat. I'm feeling exhausted. You're feeling exhausted. Marco, you want to read it?
Sure. Okay. Let me just mime my thing here, the video picture. Okay. There are 5 damage-causing acts that an animal can perform twice and remain innocuous, even when its owner was warned each time to prevent it from doing so. After the 3rd time, the animal is rendered forewarned. In such cases, the owner is liable to pay only half the damages. And there are 5 damage-causing acts for which an animal is considered forewarned, at times even if they had never caused damage in that manner. In such cases, the owner is liable to pay the full cost of the damage. Sure. Okay.
Okay, so that's the we've already hit the next Mishnah, which is great news. The thing that struck me here seemed odd in the William Davidson, which is the Sefaria, is it says after the 3rd time the animal is rendered forewarned. After the 3rd time, it should be okay. After the 3rd time, no, that's cool. All right.
That's fine.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so I just want to go through and unpack it for you.
I just want to clarify something.
Sure.
It's only the 4th time, though. So, like,
no, 3rd time.
No. There's a machlokes. No, Marco, hang on. Arthur's right. So far, we've learned it's more than 3 times that it damages.
2 questions, 2 mistakes.
So the forewarning is to say, look, one more time, and
you're Marco, what we've learned so far, there hasn't been enough machlokes. It will come up.
Okay, I got it. All right.
So
it's the 4th time. It's the 4th time.
It's the 4th time, more than 3.
Okay.
Basically, this is the final warning, and then that's what you fall.
It said after 3 times in the screen share, and
that's why it's forewarned, isn't it?
Very funny.
So you look, one more and you're out.
Very funny. There's no pun on the word.
That's why I said that.
No, forewarned, F-O-R-E, but not F-O-R-E.
So, Damon,
I know, but forewarned means you like your final warning, doesn't it?
Just go back to it, please. I also have a look at something.
Sure, pleasure.
I want to have a look at the beginning when it talks about 2. Just check something. I don't know. Maybe
I know where you got that from. I'll explain it to you.
It's redundant. So you see. Twice. Causing the animal to perform twice and remain innocuous. Even his owner was warned each time. Why does it say that?
Exactly.
Why does it say 3 times after the 3rd time?
Yes,
that's how to say it.
Well done, China. Well done. Okay, so you picked it up, Marco. Look here, off. It says these are 5 damaging acts that an animal can perform twice and remain innocuous. After the 3rd time, the animal is rendered forewarned. So this implies that it's there's a contradiction here. It says it seems to imply on the third time you're guilty, and here it says after the third time. Does that make sense?
It should say, in fact, it's wrong. It should say,
me, by the way.
tame, non-threatening.
Yeah. Oh, I did this for you.
But look here, but Damon,
Thanks, James. I'll put up the computer.
It's really shocking, a shocking explanation. Because I mean, why it's wrong? I mean, they should say can perform 3 times. It's
Correct.
an incorrect statement.
Correct. And if you have a look,
And they often mess your mind up. The Safaria thing.
They do.
They mess your mind up. Anyway.
They do.
I don't know about.
They do, because if you have a look, here, I'm going to share my screen now. 1 second. To completely different wording. This is the Schottenstein.
I mean, mess my mind more up, not.
Okay, look at the Schottenstein.
Okay.
Look at the Schottenstein.
Yeah.
Much clearer. Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no mention of after 2 times or any of this, is there? Not once.
I can't see, but I take
all right.
it. Yeah.
So listen, all I'm saying is later on you'll find that there is a machloket. What's the machloket? Is it considered forewarned where on the 3rd time it's muad or on the 4th time it's muad? But they jumped the gun here a little bit. We're going to see where it's holding. I mean, as far as we know so far, and it probably will continue like that, is that after the 3rd time, on the 4th time, it's considered muad. But here there was an error in Safaria, just what I pointed out. All right, guys, let me just go to the daf quickly, and let me just read it out to you and explain. The Mishna lists those acts of damage for which a person is considered forewarned, and therefore liable to full damages, and those for which he is not considered forewarned and is therefore liable to only half damages. There are 5 damages that are considered tam, and 5 that are considered muad. A domestic animal is not considered a muad. To gore, nor push, nor bite, nor squat, nor to kick. Rather, it is considered a tam in regard to these 5 types of damage, and its owner therefore pays only half damages. The Mishnah continues. The tooth of an animal is considered a muad to eat what is appropriate for it to eat. The foot of the animal is considered a muad to break things in the course of its walking. And there is a muad ox, and an ox that damages on the premises of the damaged party, and the man that does damage. The Mishnah gives the law for wild animals. The wolf, the lion, the bear, the leopard, and the bardelas. We're still going to find out what the bardelas is. And the snake.
Cheetah.
No, Kev, there's a whole discussion on it. But for now, let's just call it the bardelas and the snake.
Okay.
These are always considered muad. So again, the law for wild animals, the wolf, the lion, the bear, the leopard, the bardelas, and the snake, these are always considered muad. Rav Eliezer said when they're domesticated, they are considered muad. Okay? Sorry, they are not considered muad. When they are domesticated.
They're like a snake.
But a snake is always considered a muad. Okay. So I just want to unpack this. Just one comment on what Mark was saying. I had snakes. I used to breed snakes. And I can tell you that they never tame. They'll turn on you in an instant. I mean, when we were younger, my one snake got sick, and I asked my dad to take it to Warner Valley in Midrand to the snake clinic. And I mean, he'd been looking after that thing and helping with it. The thing turned on him and wanted to kill him. I mean, even my beard. I'm serious.
The only oak I know has ever had a snake as a pet. You're full of surprises. Sorry.
I had to feed the snake, Arthur would tell you, with a tube because it lost its bottom jaw in a snake in a fight with another snake. So I had to put a tube down it with protein and give it like protein shakes to keep it alive.
Mike,
I would have killed
Damon and
it.
his animals. He had a snake. Then he gets this bearded dragon, which is allergic to everything. He had to hand feed it, bathe it when he. I mean, he's been more of a father to his animals than I've been to my kids.
Damn it, unbelievable.
He's a qualified man. All he needs is a wife.
Interesting mind. Interesting mind.
Gavin didn't like the bearded dragon. He said to me, "This is not a chick magnet."
Yeah, I remember.
Are you kidding?
He didn't like it. I took it to his work and it's still at his...
that one date you went on, that girl did like the bearded dragon.
Yeah, she did.
Really?
Which is,
you remember?
Yeah.
All right.
What kind of snake was it? What kind of snake did you have?
I had different snakes. I had egg eaters, red-lipped heralds, constrictors, semi-poisonous. The only thing of it, it's stupid. You never get a semi-poisonous snake because that thing gives you a headache like an axe hit you in the middle of the forehead. Your whole body goes into spasms. Not the best pet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But it's a good business. You get boa constrictors when you're young, 15, 16, and you breed them and you get 8,000 Rand a snake in the 80s. Believe me, it's like minting Kruger Rands. It's a slight hazard.
You could have sold them to Chinese.
I wouldn't say like Kruger Rands. It's more like skydiving out of a plane to your death and then trying to sell it. But otherwise, yeah, I'm glad you're minting it.
So where are we? Okay. So just wanted to let you know that a snake can never get tamed. Just incidentally, this discussion, when they are domesticated, they are not considered muad. Rashi there brings a very specific explanation along with Tosfot to say that it's only considered domesticated, these wild animals, if you rear them from birth, virtually from birth. The minute they have any exposure in the wild, if you domesticate them afterwards, they'll never truly be domesticated. And they're considered muad at that point. It's only if they're raised in your house, just as a matter of interest. So let's go through it line by line. Okay. There are 5 that are considered tam and 5 that are considered muad. Okay. And as far as that's concerned, it's the same. Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. So it's the same animal that basically, if it's worn more than 3 times, it goes from tam to muad, making the owner liable only for half damages while it's tam. We've learned that. There are also 5 ways of damage which an animal is considered muad, liable for full damages. So it's not telling us anything new. And when we say a domestic animal is not considered muad, that's the default position, that a domestic animal is tam. To gore, nor to push, nor to bite, nor to squat, nor to kick. Gore is, as you know, care and damage. That's the quintessential of. And the tall dot is pushing, biting, squatting, and kicking. So that's also considered tam. When we say push, what do we mean push, Arthur? Push with what?
I don't know.
What animal are you talking about? It's that.
Yeah.
It's that.
The horns, maybe.
Like on the side of the.
The horns of the head is what you push with.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Michael, we got to distinguish between regal, which the animal can push on its side generally, in that normal way it's walking. Yeah, there's 2 features of keren, is that the intent is to damage or kill, and it's an unusual form of damage. So to push here is referred to actually.
Squashing.
Remember we learned Remember we learned about keren with that if you gallop, the animal gallops, that's considered a charging bull, and a goring bull is when it pushes with its body or its horns in order to impale or knock over another person or animal. So a push is a close bodily movement, particularly with the horns, and goring is referred to as charging, like a bullfight. Okay, so everything else makes sense. Biting, squatting, kicking, etc. We're not referring to kicking here as in the normal way the animal walks, or tsroros, where it kicks up stones. We talk about kicking for malice or frustration. Okay, so that's considered keren because it's a told of keren. So, and all it's saying, this Mishnah, and I don't understand why it makes it so complicated. It's bottom line. The default position is it's time for the first 3 times. After the first 3 times, keren and its tordos are muad. We've learned that. So I don't know why it's bringing it. The Mishnah continues, the tooth of the animal is considered muad to eat what is appropriate for it to eat. So what do we mean what it is appropriate for it to eat? Is that foods that are somewhat fit to eat in contrast to like utensils or clothes or foods that are totally inappropriate for it to eat. So if you, and this is going to be brought in Bava Kamma 19b and 20a, that you pay only half damages because it's considered actually a classification of keren. Now let me give it to you like this. When an animal eats with a tooth, shein means tooth. So anything that it consumes that's normal for the animal to eat or appropriate is considered shein because it's for physical gratification. We learned the case in the previous part of the section when you have a chihuahua that attacks an ox. That is considered half damages for keren because it's not the normal way an animal eats. Does that make sense? If it's obviously a Rottweiler that attacks a tiny cat or whatever the case may be, that is shein because that's for physical gratification in order to hunt or eat. So we're saying here the same for the tooth. If you take a vegetarian animal and that animal starts to eat, it's normal for it to eat foliage and grass and vegetables, etc. But the minute it eats your jeans, your denim jeans, and your laptop, it's now a different category. So if basically you have you have a goat, for example, and the goat goes to your neighbor's clothing line and starts to eat the family beach towel and a pair of jeans, etc., that would be considered keren because it's an unusual form of damage. The animal did it. It's not that it did it in order to injure, but keren has also got other characteristic of an unusual form of damage, and therefore it's it's basically a tam because it's half damages. It's no longer considered shein. So that's the only thing I wanted to mention.
So
and then
unusual. Because it's unusual.
Because it's unusual. So whenever
Okay. What about a horse? Say a horse, a tamed horse, a horse that's been trained and tamed. You're stroking the horse and it bites you.
I don't know. That's keren. That's for sure.
That's keren.
Yeah.
That's definitely keren.
Yeah. Because it fulfills 2 criteria. It wants to injure or kill you. Horses don't generally want to kill you, but it's definitely wants to.
Say you're irritating it. You're irritating it.
Yeah, that's
okay.
keren.
It doesn't.
That's absolutely keren. Classic case. Animal injures you. It's unusual. Okay. Sure, that's keren. The only thing that we were confused about is a case of eating. Because eating is generally considered shein. In this case, it's not considered shein because it's not appropriate for it to eat. And according to the rabbis, if it's not appropriate for it to eat, then it's considered unusual damage and it's put under the category of keren. And because it's 3 times or less, it's considered tam and therefore half damages. If it was appropriate for it to eat, it would be considered shein and it's muad, full damages. That's all. A horse biting on you is definitely from being irritated keren. It's it's unusual, and B, its intent is to injure or kill of an animal. In this case, injure or just stop the irritation.
You get a warning.
Yeah, sure. It's for the first 3 offenses, you get the warning. I know why you might have thought physical gratification because it just stopped the thing that was irritating it. But generally, the definition of physical gratification is something that you use to aid the stopping of an itch or to stop an irritation. Stopping the irritation is keren.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so when you learn, it doesn't differentiate here. as far as the foot is concerned. The foot is regal. So the foot of an animal is considered muad to break things in the course of its walking. When we say in the course of its walking, we say any way that the animal uses its physicality in the normal way it moves, including the tordos. And why is it considered muad? Because it's common. The animal, every time it walks, is prone to damage something under its feet or around its body. Fine. And there is a muad ox. Now, this statement seems to be a bit of a superfluous statement because it's just there in the middle. So what it's saying is the foot of an animal is considered muad to break things in the course of its walking. And there is a muad ox. So we want to see why the statement is alone. It says an ox had committed carrying damage 3 times, and those whose owner was warned to guard each ox. Although an ox can become a muad for any of these types of damage listed in the tam group, the muad ox is listed as only a single case of muad because the muad status in all 5 cases is the result of the owner having been warned rather than the intrinsic quality of the type of damage, as in the case of the avos. So that's Rashi. So Rashi is saying when the Mishnah starts off, it says that that the animal's default position is tame, and here it's coming to distinguish between a muad ox, a habitual ox that was warned. And the next part of the statement, and the ox damages on the premises of the damaged party and the man that does damage. So the ox that does damage, remember we learned the previous case that there was a discussion by Rabbi Tarfon. I don't know if you remember Rabbi Tarfon's discussion in terms of carrying damage. Michael?
I certainly remember. I remember the name, which is good. It was a good start, but I don't remember the.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, if it's done on the premises of the damager, on the premise, if it's done on the premises of the damaged, then even carrying damage, Rabbi Talfon says you pay. There's no such thing as a tam ox for carrying damage on the premises of the damaged party. It's considered muad, and it's only considered tam in the public domain where both animals have the right to be there. And then the rabbis say no, even if it's on the premises of the damaged party, but it hasn't been worn 3 times, you still make half payment. Even same as Jews, Rabbi Tafel and the rabbis agree in the public domain. So again, in the public domain, for the first 3 times the animal is tam, it does carrying damage, half payment. According to Rabbi Tafel, in the premises of the damaged party, for carrying damage, it's full payment because he's saying, well, what are you doing on somebody else's property? You don't get the leniency of tam. And the rabbis are saying, listen, the ox was still not forewarned. So because of the fact that the animal was tamed, even if you're walking through and it's not your premises and you shouldn't be walking through, you're still paying, but you're paying half damage as tam because the animal itself is a calm animal. Okay? So that's according to the rabbis. We did learn that in the premises of the damaged party. And that man that does damage. Now, when we said man that does damage, we learned that it was introduced according to Rav before, that man that does damage is Maveh. According to Shmuel, Maveh is shame. But either way, man is going to be brought up. It's not that Shmuel doesn't address man doing damage. He just said, if you remember correctly, that it's going to be addressed in a later Mishna. And these are the Mishnas that are coming up, that man's ability to do damage. The first Mishnah was just introducing the topics. Okay? Now, you'll notice that there seems to be a bit of a problem. What's the problem? It's early in the morning, so I'm not going to make you guys guess. The Mishnah only seems to list live damages that are muad. It doesn't mention pit or fire. It mentions man. It mentions wild animals. It mentions domesticated animals. And the behavior of animals. But it doesn't mention non-living, non-living damages. Because do you remember it turned around and said, there's the ox, there's the ox and the maveh, and these are living, which is unlike pit, and fire, which is non-living. So remember, it did make distinctions between living damages and not living damages.
Yeah.
Okay. Very first Mishna. The Mishna gives the law for wild animals: the wolf, the lion, the bear, the leopard, and the bardalas. Kevin, we're going to go and see in the next Mishnah what the bardalas is. There's a whole discussion. It's going to touch it here briefly, but even Rabbi Cohen didn't go into it in terms of the shear and the snake. Rav Elazar said when they are domesticated, they're not considered muad. So just bear in mind. Okay, tell me when you're with me. So basically, in 16a, Tosfot brings, as I said, that it has to be raised by the family. Okay. Let me just see if there's anything else we're missing specifically. Okay. I tell you what, guys. There's about 4 minutes left. I don't want to hit the Gemara. I'm actually, what do you call it? I'm not in the teaching space today. Guys, are you also feeling quite chilled? Okay.
Yeah, pretty chilled. Yeah.
It's mentioning here the obvious, all of these things so far. There's nothing untoward.
Yeah, pretty straight.
Damon,
Yeah?
in Google Translate, Bardelis is actually a cheetah. I said it earlier. That says it's a cheetah.
Okay, the only reason why I didn't specify it as a cheetah is because there's a whole mission on its own that analyzes what the Bardelis is. That we're going to go later. It might come out that you're right, that it is a cheetah, but we haven't gone through it yet. Because it makes a metamorphosis, by the way. I don't know.
Okay, so maybe.
So we'll see.
Maybe they use the name because that's what happens in Hebrew also.
Yeah,
maybe. They adopted.
Maybe. So we'll have a look.
It evolved into the current day cheetah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to upload the shear. It's been such a chill shear. I think I kind of next session want you, Kevin, or Mark, or Arthur just to read the Mishnah. It's self-explanatory. In 2 sentences, just give the bottom line. I don't understand why they went through all this detail in this Mishnah. I don't know if you agree with me. In the Gemara, I can understand going through this detail. The Mishnah, we've learned all of this, Marco. Do you want us to upload the whole thing? Does it make sense to you?
I mean, I can just read it to recap. It's quick.
So what about Gavin?
No, I'm saying I'm going to send Gavin this, but I don't know if I don't know if I want to upload the share specifically because the context.
I think you can summarize it. In 2 minutes the next time we have a share.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in 2 minutes I'll read it quickly, or one of you guys will read it. We'll mention the 1 or 2 parts of Tosfot in Russia and hit the Gemara. In the meantime,
anyway, thanks anyway for getting me up at 7:30 for this. Otherwise, I would have. No, I was actually up at about 4 this morning. I couldn't sleep.
Are you serious?
So I was up. Yeah. But anyway, I'm awake. I'm awake now. I'm pretty awake.
I'm sorry.
Very awake.
But no, that's fine. But nice seeing you guys. As I was telling Damon the other day, I see you guys more socially than I do anybody else, any of my other friends.
So James, I got an idea. Maybe next week sometime we can just join up for just a social day, and we can discuss what.
No, I see you guys too often. I got to catch up with other friends. I never see them.
I'm sorry.
I see you guys more than I see anyone else.